everybody. So I am in the Arboretum today for the intro to our video. So behind the camera I have Karina, one of my best friends. She's filming this for me because I am by myself. Today we are going to make dyes. So since we're in the Arboretum, there's lots of berries and sumac, and like you can use grass and flowers. So I'm going to teach you today how to make different dyes, and these dyes are so much fun. I made a whole bunch earlier just to try them out, and it worked amazing. So I can't wait to see your guys' reactions to making some dyes. Bye! Hi guys, so welcome to my kitchen. We are going to start making our actual dyes, but we need the stove for that, a stove top. You guys just saw me in the Arboretum collecting all those materials and different things that might be able to make some cool dyes. So for this specific activity, please ask your parents' help. So I'm going to show you the materials that you need to make the dye. So first thing you're going to need is an old pot with some water in it so we can boil just below boiling for our plants. So I have some plants here that we have collected, or I showed earlier. You can also use, over here, I have beets. So you can also use any material that you have at home. So I have beets here. I'm going to try those too, and I'll show you those results later. But you can also use like onion skins, avocado skins, blueberries, raspberries, any like berry that you have at home, you can use those. Anything really that you think could make color in water, maybe spinach. I don't know, you can experiment with some different plants and grasses and trees. So leaves, you can experiment with those. So what else do you need to make this dye? So we need a container to put our dye in. We need a filter, so you can use, I have here funnel and coffee filter, but you can also use a thin cloth or a fine cloth and squeeze it out in that. So that there. You're also going to need, when it comes to squeezing everything out, some gloves, which if you don't have, you can use plastic bags, which are actually very useful as well. You just put your hand in here, and there we go. We have like a little glove that you can squeeze all the dye out with. For this recipe, you'll also need a teaspoon, 1 teaspoon, and this will be for our vinegar and salt to be able to preserve our dyes that we make today. And here's my vinegar and my salt, and these are right next to me so I can put them in when we're cooking. I also have here some strips of paper, and these are for testing your dyes when they're looking colorful. So these dyes will take approximately an hour, but keep an eye on the color of the water because it might, get bright at a certain point. Maybe you're like, oh no, that's the color I want, so we're going to stop there. So we have paper to test it. So you'll also probably need, depending on how your berries are, something to like smush them with, just to get all the color out. I have my berries, and I'm going to put them in the water and let them cook. Now that our water is getting all warm and our berries are in there, we're going to get some salt, so our salt that we put aside. We're just going to put a little pinch of salt. Here, put that. And then with our vinegar, we're going to take our teaspoon, we're going to put a teaspoon of vinegar. Perfect. And now I'm I'm just gonna let it cook.
Hi guys, welcome back. It's been 30 minutes. Yeah, 30 minutes since I started boiling. This is the color so far. It's actually looking pretty good.
Hello. So, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about natural dyes while my dye is cooking. It's currently boiling the water down, so the dye is concentrated. Natural dyes have a very limited amount of environmental impact. Because they're natural materials and you're getting them from nature, they're very reusable and sustainable. Natural dyes are safe for children to use, and it's actually really fun. I've painted some other stuff with some other dyes. So I've used other dyes such as turmeric. You can use tea or coffee. Those are also other paints. And they make amazing photos. If you look up natural paintings made by different artists, they're actually really amazing. This is so fun to do with the entire family. You can have like a little session with it, trying out different things. It's a great activity to do. So I'll put a photo up here. So these are some examples of some other things you can try. There's also a wheel, and those are some colors that come out of it. So I'm going to get back to paying attention to this, but I'll see you in a bit and I'll show you what our dye looks like. Hello. So now I'm going to strain everything out. So I'm going to put my plastic gloves on. Now my hands won't get all dyed. I'm going to take my container. I squeeze everything out, put the excess in the garbage, and now I have my dye. So we can paint with this. See the color. It's a pretty good color. I'm gonna try it again with a piece of paper. I have my piece of paper, my dye. Just gonna put that in there. So that's the color I've gotten so far. The longer it sits, yeah, see, this is now getting into like a brown color. Hello, so I just finished, I know you can't see me, but I just finished making all the dyes. So our Rosehip dye, so there's our Rosehip dye. So I'm going to show you some different dyes that I did and what they make on the paper. So I have my homemade brush. So I'm going to start with our Rosehip dye. Just gotta open it up. So that's the color our Rosehip makes. So it makes this this color. So I'm just gonna put Rosehip. Alright, so there's our Rosehip. Now I made a turmeric dye earlier, and it's like this. It's like a yellow color. So I'm going to try this one and see what it makes.
So it makes like a lighter color. I don't know if you see that. Yeah, it makes like a lighter color. So we have our turmeric. And then I made, you know how I said you can make beet dyes? This is my beet dye. And then I also have blueberry dye. So I'm going to show you those. So this is our beet dye. So it's this bright color. It's like a pink or red. And then our blueberry is more of like a, it's like a purple. If you can see that. There's our purple. This is blueberry. Okay, so that's our blueberry. And then I have two more. I have my Sumac Die here, and I tried it on paper earlier and it didn't work as well as I wanted it to. So I'm trying to dye some yarn and some white fabric with it. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm not too sure how this will work, but if it's a fresh sumac, it usually makes a better color. And then my last dye that I have here to show you guys is a tea dye. So you can, when you make tea, you let it sit for a really long time, and it makes this color. Makes like a vintage color. It's sort of the same as turmeric, but when they dry differently. This is our tea. And you can try a whole bunch of other dyes. So you can try like maybe coffee or some other different fun colors that you can find. Yeah, so this is our dyes so far. The blueberry has actually been drying as like a bluish color, so that's pretty neat. And that's about it for testing out our dyes. Okay, hi guys. So this is the end of our video. I hope you've liked it. For the last thing, these are our dyes that we made. So if you follow the instructions and you get all your materials, then you'll have a perfectly fun way to paint with natural materials. It's pretty cool, huh? So I will see you again later. Have fun. Bye.